Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Woody Allen retrospective right here on planettyro.com. We're definitely closing in on the gap. We're nearly finished, guys. I am back with my buddy, the master of chaos destruction and Instagram snooping, Simon Red.
I'm not snooping. I'm creeping a bit. That's all. In fact, screw that. I appreciate Brazilian culture and Brazilian chocolate cakes in every sense of the word. Brazilian cuisine, the finest chocolate Brazil has to offer. That's what I like on Instagram.
Speaking of Brazilian, and this is a terrible segue, last time we actually spoke about that movie, 2013's Fading Gigolo, where Woody Allen did a little sidestep movie with John Turturro, and I think he was dealing with a Brazilian woman with Sharon Stone. What's her name again? Sofia Vergara? What's her name? That chick?
Sofia Vergara, and she's Mexican.
The Mexican. Yeah.
She's a Latina. Not exactly the same thing, but we can talk about Latin American, I guess, Latin on Latin racism. But isn't it more racist to qualify everybody as Latin who's from South America or south of the border?
Fuck
because
it.
Mexico is Middle America. Yeah, like what the hell are you talking about? What? I thought you meant Brazilian as in they're waxed because he's a gigolo, and you talk about waxing somehow.
I already said it was a terrible segue. You know what? Just throw them behind the wall. Let your president deal with that. Anyway, guys, this whole discussion that we're having here is part of the Woody Allen retrospective. If you don't know what that is, we've covered every single Woody Allen movie prior to this discussion. Guys, over 50 videos, over 50 movies. A lot of you guys have enjoyed our discourse, especially in this very hot climate where people are wondering, will Amazon keep Woody Allen on in the time of Time Is Up and Me Too? Woody Allen is a monster. We already had that discussion, guys. I'm fucking about. You know.
Yo. I had a personal experience the other week about that. I got fucking blasted for doing this fucking shit.
You know what? Let's just move on because I was going to say something, but I don't want to sidetrack. Let's get on with the movie, guys. All of these discussions are spoiler discussions when we speak about these movies. We prefer you check them out before you listen, but you guys have been listening for long enough. You know what we're going to do. You know what this is about, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening on the podcast. So last time we spoke about Fading Gigolo. We're moving on to 2014 this time. So Simon, can you please usher in this movie and let's just get right into it.
Yes, indeed. The year's 2014, and I'm glad to say we're back in a Woody Allen written and directed movie because I don't like these segues, man. Maybe it's just the retrospective itself. Watching so many movies back to back, you gotta kind of get used to Woody's style.
Yeah.
And it's like a warm welcome and a fresh return because as we discussed previously, when he has a critically acclaimed masterpiece of a film, at least a critical masterpiece, like 2013's Blue Jasmine, usually the follow-up year is a filler movie, is an experimental idea or a script that's mostly on the down low and deals with typical Woody Allen subjects. Basically, those are his typical movies that general audiences over the years have grown cold to and are always kind of surprised how the quality dips a little bit, while seasoned Woody Allen fans, they're kind of like, okay, they're all right, they're watchable. But this one, with the title Magic in the Moonlight, I'm happy to say a little bit different. It's a bit special, at least in my opinion. The familiar trappings and subject matters are there, but somehow the movie seems to be a bit more inspired. It's like maybe the studio was pushing it more because they saw the opportunity to recreate a film that is similar to previous box office hits from Woody Allen, or maybe Woody himself was really inspired to make this film a very particular way. I'm not sure, but you're in for more of a unique treat. And you're asking yourself, so what is the movie about? What are these familiar trappings and what are the unique aspects? Well, we're back to a magician story. Woody kind of loves his magicians. He did a number of projects relating to magicians again, and sometimes he sees himself as a metaphor for magicians. If you remember the documentary we watched not too long ago, The American Masters, when they discussed, what was the movie? Stardust Memories. Everybody's favorite Woody Allen movie, at least definitely our favorite.
With the magic rabbit that we never got to understand.
Yeah. They referred to him that was his magician movie, where he showed off all the stuff he kind of acquired as a filmmaker, and he got to flex his filmmaking muscles a bit with that film. I'm not too surprised that once again we have a magician main character, this time played by Colin Firth, of course, who's at this point already an Academy Award-winning actor. He definitely paid his dues.
And he's also renounced Woody Allen more recently, which is awesome.
Perfect timing. Thank you, Colin. We can talk more about that, but
we will.
For now, let's just keep it focused. I want to get through this long ass intro basically because the movie itself is pretty straightforward. So I'd like to kind of set the tone, just like Woody does. But effectively, he's our main magician, playing a guy who. Important to mention that this film also takes place in the early of 20th century.
Yes, another period piece.
Another period piece, which already makes it very interesting by itself. It opens up in 1928 Berlin, and Colin Firth's character is actually referred to as the illusionist Wailing Sue, because his whole gimmick is that he disguises himself as an Oriental person, which not only is the description considered racist nowadays, but also the idea of going in Asian face is a bit out there, but
it was true to the time. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what he was about to say. Yeah.
Yeah, for the times, it's absolutely on point, and it's a nice reveal and a nice introduction to his character, showing off some magic tricks. And basically, I couldn't recognize this person. Maybe you will, Don. He's an atheist, a dedicated artist who works every single year, a skeptic pessimist who feels uncomfortable amongst people who are gullible and superstitious and believe in religious thinking and magical thinking and don't see the world in a rational light. He's a loner in troubled relationships.
Sounds like Diane Keaton.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out where Woody came up with this character, especially since it's so far from himself. I mean, we all know he never injects himself into his own movies, but this time I felt like he just really showed amazing range. Is somebody so diverse and different. But anyway, the plot kicks in when his old friend comes in, played by Simon McBurney, who's a British actor. Very memorable voice. Again, Woody just has a sense for great dialogue and how actors can deliver great dialogue, because he just has the accent, that RP accent that it goes into your ear right away and somebody instantly becomes annoying, like the typical English accent. But basically, we learned that Colin Firth's character has been in the business of debunking phonies, debunking con artists who scam people by posing as fortune tellers and mediums and people who can see ghosts and such things. In the 1920s, it was quite common. It's still quite common nowadays, but back in the day, it went as far as people leaving their entire inheritance over to these charlatans, basically, these con artists. And Colin Firth, who's a skeptic himself, and like I mentioned, a man of science and an atheist, he enjoys unmasking and figuring out how these guys commit these cons and what tricks they use. And his friend, played by Simon McBurney, offers him up a new challenge. Basically, a con artist he himself was hired to debunk, but has failed, and now is asking Colin Firth to give it a go. Needless to say, the con artist, or potential con artist, is played by Emma Stone, who is a lovely young female from America, already being extremely successful as a fortune teller, as a medium who connects rich people, mostly rich Americans, buying property in the south of France by connecting them with their loved ones, giving financial advice on what to invest in. We have a hilarious side character played by, what's the guy's name? Hamish Linklater, which dude, you could have really changed that. I mean, if Michael Keaton...
I hope he's not related to Richard Linklater, one of my favorite American directors. But Simon, let me stop you there, because you've made this intro way too long and you've already gone through the summary. And on top of that, I actually don't want you to spoil this movie, because it's mostly about Colin Firth and Emma Stone and their relationship. So
holy shit. You don't want to spoil the movie. I was about to reveal the ending.
Nah.
I want to hear your opinion.
No, sure. I just wanted to cut it short because I let you. I love to hear you waffle, and I know that people love to hear your voice more than mine. But again, this is a movie that the main reason I enjoy this movie, because this is another movie with a very curmudgeon, skeptic main character, just like Larry David in Whatever Works, where his dialogue, everything he's spewing, every time he talks is hilarious because he's so negative and he's so logical and he's so skeptic, and he meets this woman who seems to be the real deal, who can perform all these miracles, all these mind-reading things, who's a medium or whatever, and he just can't understand it. There's something wrong. She's a charlatan, I'm going to solve it. And man, that's what makes this movie very enjoyable. It's very light. It's just a light rom-com about magic. And I think, although we tease Woody Allen about, it's not me and all that, the main theme of this movie, and it's even said in a couple lines in the movie, is that sometimes living through logic all the time and things making sense isn't what life is about. Life can be very boring and dull if you just live through logic and if everything has to make sense. And sometimes people need magic or lies or mystery or whatever to make life more interesting. And that's the kind of theme that the movie goes down. And I think it's very interesting that Woody Allen, being such a skeptic, kind of goes for that full force. But my only criticism to the movie is that it is kind of predictable. It's kind of predictable. You kind of know where it's going. Again, we're not going to spoil anything. But by the end, near the third act, where there is a reveal, the thing I really like about the movie is when that reveal comes, everybody starts talking straight. Everyone talks straight about how they really think, how they really feel, and their perspective on life and magic and all this other stuff. And to me, that elevated the movie. The last 15 minutes of this movie made it a lot more enjoyable.
Oh, really? Really? The last 15?
It was just decent. It was kind of like, this is a mediocre movie. Where by the end, by that third end reveal, and all the characters just started talking straight. And this has one of the most hilarious marriage proposals ever. There's a marriage proposal scene at the end of the movie where the dialogue that's being spout is so fucking hilarious because the character is so reluctant that is so funny. I was like, this is probably the funniest proposal scene I've seen in a comedy in a long time, and that made the movie memorable for me. So I came away feeling this is a very, very light, fun rom-com, you know. And it's one of the better ones for me. I thought it was light and fluffy.
It's actually surprising to me how different our opinions are on this movie. Well, I agree with you that all the characters started talking straight, except for maybe Hamish Linklater, who was, I know him from the Newsroom, basically season 2 of the Newsroom, but he plays the Mark, the rich American who is completely fallen in love with Emma Stone's character.
That banjo fool.
Not bad. It's a ukulele.
Oh, sorry, ukulele. Banjo, ukulele. I'm so sorry, Simon. How could I mix up these two instruments?
Well, because a banjo is at least a decent size, but ukulele is basically...
You're right. Calling me out. Hey. That's why I'm on planet Tyro, guys. That's what Tyro means. Idiot. But go on, Simon. Thanks for correcting me.
Yeah. How dare you talk about my banjo? What's wrong with you, boy? You should be on the field, boy.
Fuck you.
I don't like your kind.
Don't dig yourself in the grave, Simon. Don't dig yourself. All right, continue. Well, let me hear your perspective. So we feel differently. How so?
This is why I voted for Trump. Y'all don't even know what good music is. Playing that Oompa Loompa shit.
Die, cracker. Keep talking.
Anyway. So, yeah, that motherfucker just spends the whole movie on his mini guitar, on his ukulele, singing sonnets to Emma Stone, which is the widest thing you can do, because A, you don't need musical talent, you don't need to know how to sing, and it's not even a song, because you don't have things like a verse, a chorus, or a melody. You just use the same chord over and over again and just say random shit.
The joke runs thin. I'll give it that much. I know what he was trying to do, but that's all he does through 90% of the movie, and it is a joke that runs thin.
Yeah, and they play it straight, which is always good for comedy, but yeah, it runs a bit thin, and this is where I differ from you.
Okay.
I enjoyed the movie in the beginning a lot. I like the suspense of, is it real, is it not real? Because Woody did movies before where the supernatural became reality.
Yeah.
His previous magician movie, Scoop, where he himself played the magician.
Oh, yeah.
Alongside with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
That had a major supernatural element kickstarting the entire plot.
Sure.
Midsummer Night's Sex Comedy that he did in '82. You know, that was his return to comedy for a time, and it's a similar setting where it's a weekend getaway in the middle of summer, as the title says. That had kind of a supernatural mystery side plot that at the end of the film became, you know, real.
Don't forget about Picking Up the Pieces. Woody Allen was a fake magician that killed his wife.
Oh yeah, that too. That also had a supernatural element.
It did.
The suspense is there, even though I figured it out. My
Sure.
girlfriend can tell you. I paused the movie around 3 minutes and I don't know how many seconds in and said, "This is how it is."
Yeah.
And sure enough, that was exactly what happened.
And that disappointed you, didn't it? That it went down the predictable route. And I agree with you. If you think that it could have broke convention by doing something different, I agree with you that it could have. But the only reason I'm jumping in,
I'm not even saying
Okay.
break convention. I'm just saying the reveal is very good. Like again, no spoilers, but when it turns out what's going on, if it's real or not, and what everybody's true intentions are, the way that's done, Colin Firth has a little moment where his character kind of finds himself again and he reveals something in the form of a trick. Brilliant. I thought that was really well done, well acted, well directed. But the movie goes on, and I was surprised to hear how much you enjoyed that part, like the proposal, the romantic angle, all that stuff. To me, if the movie would have just ended at the reveal and Colin Firth's character is like, okay, now I know how things are actually happening, and this is how it defines my perspective on life, and then he walks away and that's the end of the film.
Dude, that is a very cynical, dark ending. And don't get me wrong, Woody Allen can do that. He's done it before. I'm not saying it's not past him, but to me, he would have no growth at all then. See, even me saying that as a spoiler. But I'm just saying that it made sense that it went past that. But don't get me wrong, would it have been a better movie if it ended where? Possibly. It would have been a stronger ending. I will agree with you there. But I enjoyed the humor of how it went, because I didn't find it romantic between these two, because their chemistry was okay. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
It was okay, but the humor between them, like there's a whole scene where Emma Stone's like, you know, do you like me? You fall in love with me? And he's like, you look good, but you're kind of ugly. He's giving her so many backhanded compliments, and just the way Woody Allen wrote that dialogue that Colin Firth is dissecting through the whole movie was so fucking hilarious. And that proposal scene I'm mentioning, the dialogue of that proposal is what makes it funny. I don't really give a shit if they got together or not, because it could have went either way. But the dialogue of it wasn't conventional. If it was just a normal scene, I was just like, who gives a shit? We've seen this before. But the way they executed that scene was so funny and ridiculous that it made it like, oh, that was kind of quirky. That made me smile. But I don't really debate you, or even I'm not even against you for what you're criticizing the movie for at all, because I can see where you're coming from. It could have made the movie better, but to me, the comedic element made it better for me. But does it elevate the movie 100%? No. But, you know, I preferred it that way. If it ended the way you said it ended, it would have been very bitter.
Well, that depends, because I enjoyed the magic and the mystery elements of the film the most. Like, I like when Woody Allen goes into the crime genre, even if he just dips his toes into it a little bit. And once again, we mentioned La La Land with that movie, Everybody Says I Love You, that Woody Allen did. And there's a scene in an observatory that Colin Firth and Emma Stone visit in the film. That's a romantic moment. Again, that just reminded me of La La Land. I'm like,
true.
That director just ripped off Woody Allen in so many little bits and pieces.
That's not fair.
Nothing's
new under the sun. Nothing's new under the sun, Simon.
That's the truth. You just can't handle the truth. That's it. It's as simple as that. Woody Allen got ripped off, and I'm sure of it. And I understand what you're saying, that the movie kind of went on and it became more of a character piece. But previously, it was basically testing Colin Firth's character. On his beliefs and where his character is ultimately going to land. And the setting of the film, the magical elements, the tricks, the suspense, the mystery of looking for clues, trying to piece together the mystery, what's going on, the cars, the locations, the beautiful scenery, the terrific cinematography. This is one of Woody Allen's best looking films,
It's
and that's
gorgeous, yeah.
saying something.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy that he abandoned like his usual, let's go back to another throwaway script and go ultra realistic kind of pale and boring everyday life cinematography that he did for many films, including what was that, you will meet a tall dark stranger.
Yeah.
So which is just dull. I'm glad he actually went exciting again and followed his his calling to be a very captivating storyteller. And I think that's why the studio was behind this film, because they were like, oh, it's another vacation movie, the south of France, we have Americans and British people going away, the people they thought it basically was another Midnight in Paris, because in an executive's brain this translates to Midnight in Paris. There's magic, there's mystery, there's Europe, done, green light.
But to be honest with you, after To Rome with Love, where a lot of people thought this is definitely going to be even better than Midnight in Paris, and it wasn't. It was kind of like a sketch movie that, I don't think they were. They don't judge a movie by its title anymore or where its location. They're like, Woody, he can force a curveball, so let's just see what he does. And this movie, let me talk about the actors. Now, Colin Firth, I know he's kind of typecast for being the curmudgeon, to be that stuffy British man who's always toffee nose and always upset, but it works so perfectly for him in this role. Now, let's just get real for a moment. Jumping to him now saying that he'll never work with Woody Allen again. Colin, don't flatter yourself, because number one, you're kind of typecast for this kind of role. You've done it. I wouldn't see Woody hiring you again anyway. And number two, again, everyone that's saying this shit now, I think you're just trying to save your career or just trying to put yourself in the good light. But Colin, I don't think Woody was going to use it again at all, because you're not super diverse. You do one type of character. This was it. Perfect for this role. And yes, you definitely hold the movie. But in that regard, when he said he's coming out to dinner, that's Woody Allen, I was like, really, Colin? You? Really? If it was Justin Timberlake or Rhys Evans or Scarlett Johansson, it would hurt. But you? Sorry, Colin. Nobody cares.
And also, those people you mentioned, Justin Timberlake, Scarlett Johansson, and Alec Baldwin, all came out and defended him.
Yep.
And coincidentally destroyed James Franco's career, which is just funny.
You won't see him in the Woody Allen movie, hopefully.
that would be hilarious.
As for Emma Stone, she's good. And let me tell you something. I think it was a better decision to have a younger actress in the role, because I know a lot of people, I read the reviews, people were like, oh, she's so young. He's 48 and she's 24 or whatever. There's a 20 plus year age difference. Let me tell you something, man. I like the fact Woody getting a bit of a younger crowd in. I know Woody always casts younger girls as a pervert. Whatever. That's your opinion. I think it works. She was an up-and-coming actress. She still is. She's really done well for herself. She brings energy to the movie. She has some good scenes, especially near the end as well. I thought she was a really good pick. And their chemistry was, it was good enough. It wasn't perfect. But to be honest with you, Woody Allen, in his movies where he hasn't cast himself, the chemistry is never that spot on, except for, obviously, Match Point, which is phenomenal. So I thought this was good enough. So overall, this is a passable movie. In Woody's, I don't know what you want to call this, as you said, Simon, is off-peak movies or is on edge. He's not at his full power. He hasn't reached his full potential, whatever. This is fine. This is a fine
he's still recovering from the previous one. Yeah,
this is a fine rent it, watch it our whole movie. Looking at Rotten Tomatoes, INDB, people are kind of harsh on the movie. Like, it's okay, but it's kind of forgettable. I understand. If you think this movie's forgettable, I understand. Against Woody Allen's other movies, as a movie on its own, it's a nice period piece rom-com that poses a good question. Should life be dictated just by logic? Should you just be a logic curmudgeon? And what's wrong with believing in something else? Woody Allen's touched on that a few times before, but this time it's the focus of the movie, and it's done in a romantic comedy. That's fun. So I think it's a nice break. And to be honest with you, after Blue Jasmine, I was expecting some down in the dump shit, and this is the first time I'm seeing this movie, and I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised. But if I wanted to be an arsehole, I would say that, it's not one of his best movies. It's not super memorable, but it's just a very enjoyable, light movie. You gotta have one of these sometimes. You can't be fucking hitting it out of the park every goddamn day.
Yeah, and like I said, what was the last movie? I think we were also surprised by To Rome with Love, that was better than we expected it to be. That was another filler movie that people were harsh on. And I think Woody Allen at this point in his career is such a master at what he does, and I emphasize what he does: the subject matters he tackles, the type of dialogue he writes, the way he shoots films, his style. Even though behind the scenes he says, "Oh, you don't direct actors much. You kind of just go with your instincts and you shoot whatever you can on the day, and then you go into the editing room and you realize it's a mess and you try to stitch it together and you add a narrator and all that stuff." I think he really learned to get around those problems, and he just does good stuff. I don't think this movie falls into the same trappings as his weaker films. I think it's more entertaining and more unique and special in a way that it's worth checking out. I just think because he's so inspired with the individual elements, it leaves you longing for more. So when it's set up to be a story about like a duel of magicians, a duel of one fake magician who lives on stage and likes to debunk others, and one real who could possibly have all the supernatural power and ability to read minds and all this stuff. You expect a little bit more, and then it goes into and defaults into a romantic comedy. That part didn't really work for me, and I appreciate Colin Firth's acting. I liked Emma Stone. I don't know if anybody else could have added more to the film, because I felt like you said, the chemistry was lacking a bit. The way it stands, you say you like the last 15 minutes a lot because it continues beyond the initial setup. I don't like it as much. To me, the movie started dragging because
Well, I like
the
the dialogue specifically. The dialogue after 15 minutes.
Okay.
They just started talking very straight, and Woody cut to the point in the dialogue where they started to debate the actual point of the movie. Why do you believe this? Why would you believe that? Why is life better with this? That I love that conversation, and it kind of ran to the end. So that's what I like the most. And before that, everything was just like you said. I knew where it was going up to that point, and even after that point, I knew where it was going. But that reveal, that point, it was good. So yeah, but again, I don't want to make it sound like this is an amazing movie. It's amazing. I know it's mediocre against Woody Allen's stronger films, but it's one of the better mediocre Woody Allen offerings. So, but yeah, sorry to cut you there.
Nah, I finished my piece because I enjoyed a lot about the film, the scenery, the fact it's a period piece, the cars, the clothes, all that stuff. If you're into kind of movies that go the extra length to really paint a picture and kind of transport you into a different point in time, all that stuff is very successfully done here. I just think, for me, the romantic angle wasn't interesting enough to warrant the film being extended beyond the mystery. I would have just liked the mystery to be more fun, maybe incorporate more magic tricks, more kind of double crosses or hidden reveals or things like that.
Sure.
Because after it's the cat's out of the bag, it all seems inconsequential, and that's not a spoiler because even the supernatural element is treated so everyday that you're not left in suspense that, okay, if it's revealed that it's true, the world will change immediately. If it's more character focused than that. It's really about Colin Firth and his worldview and his beliefs, which I appreciate for a movie, but at the end, it makes it just quite limited in scope, and I didn't really feel that much suspense after the mystery was lifted.
I don't disagree with anything I'm saying. Yeah, I think we're on point there. So let's not waste any more time on this one, guys. We've had our thoughts. Again, Rotten Tomatoes IMDb score. Everyone thinks it's a very mediocre movie, but they know there's worse out there. Like, there was a Tall Dark Stranger. But let me tell you something, man. The curmudgeon character, when Woody Allen makes curmudgeon characters,
that's always funny, man. Yeah. I laughed so hard at his one-liners, just criticizing everybody. That was really funny.
Exactly. So, guys, let us know what you think of this movie down in the description below. As you can see, we are so close to catching up to recent times. We've only got 3 or 4 films left. Simon, I want to thank you for joining me in this one, as always.
Yeah, it was fun, man. It was fun.
Thank you. And saga continues on the next movie. So, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Do not forget we're doing this whole retrospective of Woody Allen. We've got the website up, WoodyAllenRetro, and I almost forgot, actually, at the time of this movie was made, Woody Allen did his first ever podcast, and I know the Woody Allen Pages guy put it on his website. I listened to it. It was pretty fun, even though Woody Allen seemed a little bit let's just say Woody Allen. he's never as enthusiastic as you think he should be. So I'll put a link to that podcast in the description. But you've seen Woody Allen Facebook interview. If you're keeping up Woody Allen, then this isn't really anything new. But it was worthwhile. It was done at the time of this movie, which is why I'm bringing it up. So check that out, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a like on the discussion. Thanks for listening on the podcast. And guys, we'll see you on the next recording.